Political correctness seems to be blamed for so much these days. Why is that? Well, it's a good scapegoat. Donald Trump thinks political correctness is partly to blame for the Orlando nightclub massacre last week. He implied that President Obama prioritizes it over our own safety and security. The NRA seems to agree. One of their executive directors wrote that political correctness is keeping us from catching terrorists before they strike. You even saw a friend of Stanford rapist Brock Turner blaming it for accusations of rape on college campuses, writing a letter to the judge that argued we should, quote, stop worrying about being politically correct every second of the day. That all sounds like bullshit, of course, but it gets me asking, what in the hell is political correctness really? Columnist Connie Schultz has a good definition. Quote, political correctness is a manufactured grievance by those who don't want to be respectful towards those with whom they disagree or hate. In the 80s and 90s, conservatives started convincing a lot of folks that political correctness was out to get them, that it infringed upon free speech and was meant to give marginalized communities more privilege at the expense of their own. But these oppressed folks weren't asking for more privilege, they just wanted equality. It shouldn't be okay to demean women in the workplace or to throw slurs around at people. But when folks complain about being disrespected, they're told, oh, you're just being politically correct. Their concerns are dismissed. This is how we've gotten to a place where it's somehow worse to call out bigotry than it is to be a bigot. And after terrible moments like the Orlando shooting, they tell us that political correctness is even putting our lives in danger. We've seen conservatives freak out recently over protests at universities like Mizzou, Yale.
That goes against your position as master. Do you understand that?
No, I don't agree with that.
Then why the fuck did you accept the position?
Because
Who the fuck hired you?
I have a different
You
vision
should
than you.
step down. If that is what you think about being a master, you should step down. It is not about creating an intellectual space. It is not. Do you understand that? It's about creating a home here. You are not doing that.
You're supposed to be our advocate.
You should be at the event last night when you hear Franco say that she doesn't know how to create a safe space for her freshmen in Silliman. How do you explain that? These freshmen come here, they think this is what Yale is? Do you hear that? They're gonna leave, they're gonna transfer because you are a poor steward of this community. You should not sleep at night. We're out, we out. You're disgusting.
Yep. Students, can you tell him how
you don't have a right to take our photos.
No.
You have a right to take
The same First Amendment that protects you standing here. No, I do have the photo. I do have the right to take photos. First Amendment.
I can't hear you.
Excuse me. If you would like to take photos, you need to please give them space. You cannot be this close to them. Please.
They're being close to me.
What I'm
They've been pushing
saying
me
is,
back.
you need to move back.
They were here first.
Yes, you do.
I don't have to move back.
Yes, you are. No, I don't. She does not want to in front of her. Hey, go home. You think it's funny? You need to move.
I have a job to do. I'm documenting this.
Duke in Clemson, where students said, hey, it sure would be great if I wasn't called a nigger on campus. Or it would also be great if I didn't have to go to class or live in a building named for a slave trader. Yet, it seems that was too much to ask for conservative critics, who said you're policing free speech. No, they weren't. People are free to say racial slurs or praise racists all they want. And these protesting students should be able to say, we want a campus and society where we don't have to deal with that shit. Look, asking someone to treat you with respect is not the policing of speech. It isn't reverse racism, whatever that is, nor is it some scheme to marginalize white men in the same way they've historically done to us. It also isn't the real issue here. What's important is not how we define political correctness or whether we see it as a good or bad thing. We need to understand how it's used to distract us from discussions about how to improve our society and culture through laws, through activism and community organizing, through common decency. none of which infringe upon anyone's rights or privileges. So I don't care what you call it. Treat each other better, and know that it won't cost you any of your time, effort, or freedom to do so. Being PC to me just means not being an asshole, which, unless you have a pretty low view of humanity, it's not all that difficult.